What's going on, you nerds? Cobbsy here, and welcome to the True Nerds Gaming Podcast. We're on episode number 28. I got Dan here as always, and we got a few topics to talk about this week, but overall, we're just going to be catching up and talking games. So, as usual, let's get started. What have you been playing, watching, seen any movies, any of that fun stuff?
No movies. Wanted to see Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but had a wedding this weekend, so haven't seen it yet. I hear it's pretty decent.
I'd say it's more than decent, but you know.
As far as gaming, I've played just a little bit more Jedi Survivor. And it's been awesome. The patch came out. It's silky smooth. And I've been playing through some Breath of the Wild, getting ready for Tears of the Kingdom.
What have you been playing more? Breath of the Wild there?
Well, I got a good 2-3 hour gaming session in on Monday of Survivor, but then just been playing Breath of the Wild in the evening before I go to bed.
Okay. Yeah, I texted you the other night, I almost pulled the trigger, man, and I just keep I'm at the point where I'm like, I want to play the game really bad. I've had it almost in my cart, and then I'll see people saying, "Oh, it's really good, but the graphics still aren't where they should be, or the frame rate, or this or that." So I'm like, I want to enjoy the game so much that I'm forcing myself to hold off, which sucks because I see all the hype and talking with you, and everyone that's playing it right now loves it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just saying it's not the graphical experience that it should be. But the patch,
I think it's pretty much there with the latest patch that they did. But the problem is when you were about to buy it, the EA launcher went down.
Yes. Oh yeah. Thank you.
So then you couldn't even log on to it. And my plan was to play it all Friday. Was it Friday night or Thursday night? Thursday night. But yeah, I was really tired. And then you messaged me is something going on with BattleNet and or the EA launcher? And sure enough, I looked up a few things, and Reddit was all over the place with launcher down, can't play, bullshit.
How to's how to play Jedi Survivor. So that sucked, man. That's just kind of another example. I was about to purchase it, and I saw that, and then yesterday I was about to purchase it, and I saw a bunch of people even on May 6th having crash issues. I'm like, God, and it sucks because hearing from you have zero issues, but every PC is different. So anyways, enough talk on that. I'm glad you're liking it. I really want to it, but I'm just sitting here. I'm like, you know what? I got enough going on where I can be excited to play other games. So leading into that, I beat Days Gone.
Nice. Finally.
Super good game. I put I think 44 or 45 hours in it, and I beat it. I didn't 100% it. I played it on the normal difficulty, but I mean, I did side missions and stuff. I think I beat 65% of the achievements, and overall, yeah, I put some time into it. I think the game to beat is 35 hours if you just play it through the main campaign. But man, the story, it's good. Again, like I said last week, I know why people kind of get frustrated with it. It's a slow start, it's a slow burner, but once you get to the end of the game, all that character building and world building really pays off, because when big events were happening, I actually felt like I cared about characters. It was awesome. Super great. Phenomenal. So far, it's one of my favorite games I've played, story narrative wise. Had a blast with it. So that was awesome. Cool. Age of Wonders 4 came out on Tuesday, May 2nd, I think it was. Same day as Redfall. And I asked you if you're into strategy games. I've never been into strategy games, but my one buddy Savvy has been harassing me to get into this game. He's been hyped about it forever, and he kept talking to me. Finally, I'm like, okay, I'll play with you, kind of deal. Fell in love with the game. Game's awesome. I've never played strategy games, so in the first couple hours, I was a little lost, a little confused, a little overwhelmed trying to figure out all the mechanics of a strategy game, or a 4x game, I think they're called, 4X game. Is that right? Where it's It's like there's 4 things. It's like take over, conquer, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know, like Age of Empires or those other things.
Well, I think Civ's like that, but I think Age of Empires is
different.
just like, yeah, you just conquer the other person.
Oh, okay.
More of a real time strategy that you just sending.
Gotcha.
I could be wrong. I'm not like super into the space, but I have played a lot of Civ, and I used to, when I was like in middle school, high school, play a lot of Age of Empires.
I saw you have 200 hours on one of the games on your Steam library. So yeah.
I mean, Civ, that's like 3 games of Civ.
They're super long. Okay.
Yeah, they're just massive. Like and it's a game that you can just literally start playing and you completely lose track of time. Time is out the window.
That's how.
And so then you're like, oh, I'll just do one more turn, and you're clicking and you're doing all these like strategical moves, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, it's 5 a.m. I am fucked.
That's funny. That's how this game is, man. Like I said, I was a little overwhelmed, this and that, but after the first couple hours, I was just like, I want to keep playing this because I'm having fun doing it, but I was like, don't get wrapped around the axle with mechanics and stuff. Mm-hmm. And now I think I have 15 hours in the game. I beat my first campaign. The thing I really like about this, though, is like over the time I learned, which is like any game, obviously, when it comes to that, but there's a big, I won't say, it's kind of, it's an RPG element. It's not super in-depth stat tracking and stuff like that for RPG, but like there's a lot of character customization, like your main heroes and stuff. Like it's really, really in-depth. So if you want to focus, I mean, there's so much stuff to focus. You're like, oh, I don't feel like focusing, taking over the map, but I just want to pillage people, right? So you can like build your character that way, or say you do want to like build a lot of buildings, just take over the map. You can do that. Say you want to go and get into battles, that's your thing. It actually, you can make it. It's turn-based strategy actually. So like and I love that. So each of your little armies, you can actually manually move them and select what spells they're casting. It's not like what's the one game I played? The one on Gamepass, Warhammer. The war one just came out. The third one came out this year.
Not sure.
Oh, it was one of the bigger releases, but that one is just like you place your armies and then you just watch them move up to each other and like battle. And I got bored doing that. This, you actually place them where you want on the little squares and then cast what spells you want, whatever.
Okay.
And super cool. But say you don't want to get into that, you can just auto battle. Or
Gotcha.
You can manual battle and speed it up and then pause it and then choose when you do your action.
Right.
So,
that's really cool.
Super into it. Graphics are awesome. Music's cool. There's a lot. Me and Savvy have been texting like constantly, like, oh, just figured this mechanic out 15 hours in. Like, super cool. So yeah, beat Days Gone. Been playing that. Did you look at my Steam library this weekend?
No.
You'd be proud of me. Guess what I got?
What'd you get?
Started playing Spider-Man today.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's good, dude. It's super good. I believed you, but it was one of those games where I'm like, just the combat, you can tell it's an addictive loop because you're like, oh, you know, say you just want to mess around like you were saying and go through the city and like do all the robberies or this or that, or just swing around, mess around.
Mm-hmm.
I was even in Doc Ock's lab doing those little puzzles, like where you're doing the circuits and stuff for like 30 minutes. I'm like, I was like, oh, I just did 4 of them, and then some of the other puzzles. Super good.
I turned those off. There's a difficulty setting that you can just like skip puzzles.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, I wanted to get through the game.
Yeah,
it feels like it like slows you down, and I like puzzles in some sense, but it just feels like it's a barrier to the next thing I want to do.
Yeah.
So I turned them off.
Okay, so
some people love them.
Did you just blow through the campaign then? You didn't do a lot of the side stuff, or?
I didn't. I do a bunch of those to kind of level up and get some power ups, but then I didn't want to get sidetracked like I do in a lot of open world games, and so I kept like powering through on the story for the most part. So I have a few zones. Mm-hmm. Like few of those like neighborhoods like completely cleared out, and then other ones like not even touched. So
yeah. I mean, I respect that. I know your play style with RPGs and open world stuff. You can spend so much time playing the side stuff, then you get burned out of the game and don't even finish it. So
right, yeah, I didn't want to do that, and I was having a ton of fun doing the side stuff, and I feel like they're pretty quick for the most part. As long as there's a couple of the ones that we have to like chase things, that it's not quite the most fun, but like the robberies and all the other stuff is pretty enjoyable. But I didn't want to like, okay, I'm gonna 100% this neighborhood and 100% this neighborhood, and then it just ended up putting in like another 40 or 50 hours, and then like get sidetracked, or Destiny expansion comes out, or kind of whatever else, and then not get back to the campaign, because I've done that with just about every single open world game I've ever played. So
yeah, it's easy to screw yourself over that way. And even when I beat Days Gone, the campaign completion achievement, only 30% of people that own the game has gotten. That's weird to me, but I mean, I get it. The open world game, and like I said, I did like 65 or 70% of the achievements. I really just have to go back and complete hordes and like new game plus, but I'm not doing that. That's a long time. Like, you could skip the cutscenes and stuff. I feel no reason to go back and play new game plus, but there's a challenge mode and stuff. But anyways, yeah, I caught myself doing a lot of the fun side stuff, and like the suit upgrades seem awesome. Dude, the combat is phenomenal. I had so much fun. Like, even the tutorial, the first hour is like a tutorial pretty much, right? You're doing that first campaign or mission. They're teaching you combat and then how to swing and all that. Dude, like, it's involved, and they did a damn good job on it. My only complaint so far is the voice acting's kind of shit, but I can look past that. Like, I'm the main character, Peter Parker, is voiced well, but everything else seems kind of just like it's not shit. It's just kind of cheesy, I guess. But it's also I don't
some
know.
of it is.
That's like a super nitpicky thing, though.
Right. I think it gets better, and they focus more on like the main story beats. But like there are a lot of like kind of side dialogues, and you're living the life. It's a Peter Parker sim, the game is, and so and so you're trying to balance work, you're trying to balance family, and you have to talk to your family and everything else. And so
I guess it's more the cop, the first I forgot her name. It's coming through on a cell phone, so it's just kind of annoying. But like the conversations with Aunt May and stuff, that was fine. Comical as always, like but yeah, having a good time with that. So I ended up buying that, and Miles Morales was like $23. So that one, the Spider-Man actually went up in price, $37, which whatever, it's still plenty worth it. Miles Morales was $23. So, and I heard the game's better, it's just shorter. Everyone says better combat, better story, just really short. It's like a DLC. So
it is a DLC. I would not classify it as a separate game.
Well, they charge $70 on PlayStation 5, so that's why.
Dude, they got those guys hook, line, and sinker. You're literally still in the same location, right? You're playing through New York. There's like, it's obviously like set in a different like part of New York. A lot of the main story beats and stuff, but yeah, it's an expansion for sure. It's made in the same engine with everything, and like obviously you're a different character with different abilities, but it's basically just like the same game, but the story through Miles Morales' eyes.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
but
$23
it's still really
though,
good,
man.
for sure.
I'm good with that.
I mean, I would say it'd be a bigger expansion because it is a whole new story, and so maybe I can see why they claim it's a full game, because it is a much bigger story than a typical expansion story would be.
Right.
But not $70 for it.
That was one of the first PlayStation 5 games that came out, so where everything was a $70 game.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
So I mean, I get that. But if it's good, it's good. I don't judge games on. I can get worth out of 9 hours if it's phenomenal, but I'm probably not going to pay $70. But if it's like, if that was my thing, I'd spend it. So I've spent money much more on worse.
Right, for sure.
So I got that. Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil 7 were all like $7 a piece. So I picked those up. 7's Biohazard. I think that's it. Yeah, I went on a little spending spree, but I mean they're games that, again, they're they're backlog games that I wanted to do, and I felt really bad about Survivor, dude. Like honestly, I wanted to talk to you about it, but I'm like, I can't pull the trigger on $70 when like it's just not in the right place. Like every time I went to buy that damn thing, I saw something like that just like turned me off of it. So I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm gonna play Spider-Man, make Dan happy, and I'm happy now.
For sure.
Too, so
that's the only game choice that you could make. That was like, all right, cool. I'm not that upset he didn't get Survivor, because you have to play Spider-Man.
Dude, it's good. So it's good. Speaking of good, this is what I want to talk to you about. Let's. I won't go into details because obviously you can't talk on it. But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is phenomenal, dude. It's.
I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes score because I was just curious to see like what everybody's like feelings were on it, and like because I was kind of nervous going in. Like it's their last hurrah, James Gunn's last hurrah. I really loved his work on the first one, but the second one didn't like connect with me as much, or at least it like
I don't think maybe it connected with a lot of people.
Yeah, it was decent the first time through, but it's not as rewatchable as the first one is for sure.
Yeah.
And so I was like kind of nervous, like iffy on if this one was going to be good. I thought it might be, but just like wasn't sure. So I checked out the Rotten Tomato scores, and it's like 82 or 81% on critics and like over 90 on audience score. I was like, all right, I got to go see it.
Dude, it's freaking good, man. I'm a Guardians fanboy, you know me, that's like my thing, right? Oh, I forgot actually. I picked that up $17. So I know you
Guardian.
Yeah, I know you already have it. But dude, people say that's like better than the second movie. They're like, if you play that game, it's better than the second movie. So picked that up too actually after I got home from the theater yesterday. So me and Heather went. It was actually perfect timing because I wanted to see the thing so bad. But yeah, it's good, man. It's a no spoilers, but it's a origin story of one of the characters.
I did hear that,
bro. It's next level shit. Like it hits you in the feels and spots. It's intense. It's still got that comical relief. I had one spot in there. I was like, but that was about a 10-second scene. Everything else in the 2.5 hours, I'm like, this shit is just like on the edge of your seat. Like Heather went with me.
Yeah,
loved it. Like loved the movie.
Awesome.
Like you know, if my wife's
she
loved it. She loved it to the point where today she's like, hey, let's watch Guardians 1.
Yes.
Like that's it's a good movie if it gets you to go back and watch the first one. Because she's already seen it, but she wanted to watch it again. So
how's the soundtrack situation?
Great.
Because like the first one was incredible. The second one was pretty decent. But I was wondering again, like, did they move up to another era of like music, or is it still the same time frame?
I'm not good. I don't want to spoil it because it's a big part of the movie, or not a big part, but it's something you're kind of connected to them. Hell yeah. Dude, it's good. Yeah, Heather was actually saying today, she's like, I just loved the soundtrack to that movie.
Let's go. Okay, tomorrow. I was debating.
You need to go see it.
I was like, I'm either gonna play because I'm gonna go into work for a little bit, but then I was gonna come back and play like a couple hours of Survivor, or go see the movie.
Go see it.
But no,
it's a no-brainer, man. Like, you know me, I don't go see movies in theaters, and you need to see it. It's so good. I hope you think it's good. But if the score's that high on Rotten Tomato, you know it's good. Like it's normally it's like, oh, all the fanboys love it. Rotten Tomato gives like a 40, but
yeah, for sure.
Super good. Actually, we had a bad experience, so we went into the movie theater and
Janesville.
Yeah, and me and
movie's 10.
Yeah, so it's 16 now, I think. Yeah, I don't know, man. Weird, but so we go in there, and I remember last week when we saw Mario that I saw there was like a apology sign saying like, hey, one of the bulbs is burning out, it's dimming. But it wasn't the theater we went and saw. So I didn't think anything of it.
During Mario?
Yeah. But it didn't it didn't affect us. But I just remember seeing the sign. And then we went in yesterday, and like 5 minutes into the previews, I look at Heather, I'm like, this seems really dark. Like And she's like, okay, good. I thought it was just my old eyes. She said that, like joking. I'm like, no. I was like, because I have 20/20 vision after my LASIK a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this shit's dark. So I went out and I was talking to I asked one of the employees, I'm like, hey, it's theater 1, like the burned bulb? And all of a sudden, it must have been the manager. She's like, yeah, it's not that dark. She like flipped out at me. I'm like, I was like, well, man, we were just in there and it's pretty dark. She's like, I just sat in there today. It's not that bad. I'm like, okay. She's like, well, the previews are darker than. She's like, it's just at the top, the previews. I'm like, okay. So she's like, but you can go to the 3D one or 3D one if you want. I'm like, okay. And she's like, when I got glasses, I'm like, let's try and see if when the movie starts, it's better, you know? It was horrible. Like me and her, like, how the fuck are people not like complaining? Because like, dude, they should not have been charging people. So then we walk into 3D and it's bright as shit. It started 15 minutes later, so even the previews is as bright as shit. I'm like, hell yeah, this is good. Because I was ready to leave. I was like, I don't want to see this movie in a half-ass. Like, it was horrible.
For sure.
It was one of those things, like, have you ever played a game where the brightness is down too low and you can't see shit in like a cave? That's how it was. It was bad.
Oh, Destiny on HDR?
Yeah, pretty much. It was
just
bad.
The whole screen's just fucking black.
Yeah, that's
and if you turn the wrong way in the cave, it's just like, I don't know which way I'm facing right now.
It's like a vault of glass. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so we end up seeing it in 3D and it's good.
That's awesome.
Very good.
Movie theaters they're hurting. They're hurting for employees. They're hurting for equipment.
I mean, the thing is, sorry, go ahead.
I went to, I think it was Mario in 3D. And while the center was like, everything was like aligned, I don't think the edges were. Because I was getting this like double, like half, seeing like two, like the sides of the images like twice on the sides of the screen, and
so it was like you weren't wearing your 3D glasses, almost where it was like
and so I was kind of like trying to like figure out like what angle I could get to like get it, and so I was just, I don't know if like since 3D went away and now it's back, if like people don't know how to set it up because they're all like, and then all the like it's just kids working there,
right? I
didn't see like a single, maybe like one adult manager, and then everything is kids, and like I ordered some food and I'm like, hey, like there's like 10 minutes before the movie starts. Should I just wait out here for the food or should I go into the theater? And the kid's like, I don't know. Cool.
All right, bro.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah. It's
so
even like the,
and this is like,
man.
This is a Marcus. This is like one of the nicest movie theater in our area. And so, yeah, I was like,
yeah, even the bathrooms, man, like, the sinks were broke, like the paper towel dispenser was busted on one of them. I'm like, this is why you're hurting. No one wants to go to this shit ass like.
Yep.
I understand that the digital age with all these streaming devices and stuff, Disney Plus, YouTube, Netflix, whatever. I get it. They're hurting, but it's like, okay, me as an owner of a theater, I would ensure to the best of my ability that it would be somewhat respectable. So people are like, hey, we don't go to the movies often, but that was a good experience. Like, this was a good experience this weekend.
For sure. Exactly. Because then you're going to come back. Hey, I forgot how great this was. This is awesome. I'm going to come back and watch the next like big movie.
Yeah, spend $20 on popcorn and Dr. Pepper.
Maybe like they need to like shut down a few theaters to ensure that the rest can have the same level of quality.
Yeah.
But that whole brightness thing, that just absolutely pisses me off. Like, especially if you're just not going to like give a discount to the people who go in the theater and let them know like, hey, just so you know,
dude, she got
this is the issue.
Of Heather and me, like, you know me, I'm super polite, and I was like, hey, I was just asking, I was like, is that the theater? And she was like, meh. I'm like, holy shit. And then she went and got her and then she like turned around and went and got her like takeout someone had delivered to her. I'm like, that's your priority. I see why this movie theater sucks. Like Grubhub
for
or whatever
sure.
showed up. It was wild though.
And you can't tell me it's not that bad. It's my money and my time, and it's a subjective thing.
Right.
Like, maybe it's not that bad to somebody who doesn't give a shit. Like, I don't know. But to me, a pixel peeper who has like multiple like OLED 4K TVs that are like perfect, I'm going in, I better get a dang good experience that's like almost up to the level of my TVs. Otherwise, I'd rather just watch it at home, honestly.
Right. Well, even if my wife's like I can't see it, I'm not gonna sit for 2.5 hours. It's a long movie.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so yeah, you'll have to let me know when you're done with it tomorrow. Yeah, it's a banger. It's super, super, super good, man.
That's really good to hear.
Chris Pratt's just such a good actor. Not even like comical wise, but just overall, he's a good actor. The antagonist in the movie, right? That's the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, I was switch those two. Did a damn good job portraying emotion in that game, like or in the movie, really, really well. It's a good acting when you're like, dude, the villain was awesome. So, I think you'll like it. And like I said, origin story. If you're a Guardians fan, you're really gonna appreciate the shit out of the movie.
Heck yeah.
Moving on though, along with Age of Wonders 4, which was a phenomenal, well-received launch, Redfall launched the same day. It didn't turn out too good.
No.
Did you try to play it at all?
No.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't even interested in it in the beginning.
Yeah.
And okay, so I'm not that big of an Arcane Studios fan.
I
never played
for their work.
The Prey and Dishonored stuff. I know a lot of people love them, but everything I've seen on them was like, nope, not for me.
Mm-hmm. Which is respectful. Respectful.
Yeah,
you know what you want.
And even like Deathloop, like it just like some of it seemed cool. How maybe like other people could like invade your game a little bit, but the rest of it just didn't compel me. And
Sorry,
even
I'm listening. I'm pouring a beer.
even the other like aspects of that game, just like the way the story was kind of delivered, I was like, no, that's like not for me. The art style, not really. I wouldn't put that as a game of the year contender kind of art style,
right?
From a well-respected studio. And so when I saw this, I was already kind of like, the art style doesn't look all that great. Like maybe if like the gameplay is like really, really fun, but then when I saw some of the kind of boss combat, and it literally just looks like they kind of just run straight at you.
Unless there's a car in the way, then they won't run past.
Yeah, for real. And so it's just like, okay, it's just going to be another like bullet sponge game. It could be fun as like friends, and you're just like screwing around or whatever. And so I think I would have like played with you, although I didn't even know it was a looter shooter. So I was like, oh, maybe I'd like enjoy that. But then after I saw the launch stuff, I was like, nope.
Dude, their marketing team was horrible. Like you as a consumer didn't even know what it was, and allegedly that's like one of the biggest launches of the year, and you know, for Microsoft. And I do want to talk about Microsoft after Redfall, because I'm just like fucking fed up with, I don't know. Anyways, we'll get to that later, but yeah, the marketing team, no one knew what the fuck the game was. And I did, but
I was getting some Anthem vibes. Like the bad Anthem, like the multiple studios working on it and having no idea what the game was about. All of them like working in different directions, and that kind of was like felt like what this game was about. It felt like they had a lot of different game mechanics like crammed in, but no real central vision, like compelling vision for the game. Like the idea was, hey, make a looter shooter with vampires.
Right.
We want this aspect and this aspect.
What sells good? Vampires and looter shooters and live service games. Yeah.
Dude, companies just literally stop looking at live service as like
Bungie set the standard, and no one, because they see Bungie making money.
Bungie accidentally fell into a standard.
Yep.
And I think if Destiny were to launch where it did today, when it did back in vanilla, the game would have died already. Because it was a buggy launch. It was bad. The only thing that saved it, and it could save it today, is they had the end game ready to go day one. Like they had a vision for it. They launched at the time that they wanted it to launch at, and that's what saved the game, was Vault of Glass.
Yeah, that's good memories for me.
And no other live service game has been ready to do the end game day one.
Right.
They're always like, whoa, we'll just get the end game figured out down the road.
I I just don't even know how this game got launched. Did you see? So obviously, just the amount of like hate videos about it. Like, dude,
Well,
IGN gave it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's how bad that game is. They give 10s out like candy.
Yep. Well, they don't usually do 10s, but they give everything a 7.
Yeah, or mediocre games a 9, bad games a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, I don't know. They're getting better, honestly. They are, but versus like 3 years ago. But I don't get how QA let this launch.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Well, I think Microsoft look at the package and they're like, even if we give you another 6 months, I don't think this game's going to be any better. It may have launched in like a better technical state, but there were so many other problems to the game. Not having a single cutscene, animated cutscene.
Yeah.
Everything is just like still images that like move across in like a slideshow and like give story exposition. Not a single cutscene.
Yeah.
Even Destiny like figured that out, although they do still use the slideshow effect for exposition on some things.
I think that works in anime. It's like Tales of Arise. They have cutscenes, like really good cutscenes, but they have a like that slideshow thing where you're showing like 2 people talking, and it's awesome because it's anime, right?
Right. Well, that was like their artistic vision, right?
Yeah.
Where a lot of these companies use them to just save money and time.
Yeah. I think the only time it worked out well, which they did have cutscenes though, but Halo Infinite having the holograms instead of a lot of cutscenes, I didn't mind that. I enjoyed that. Some people hated it, but
felt like it fit in the story to me, and there was enough cutscenes for me. It wasn't distracting at all. Now in Destiny, it was distracting because it would literally like take you out. Now some of them were pretty good. Like there was one about Saint 14 from the Fallen's perspective.
That's sweet.
And it was fire.
I think I played that one, didn't I? Was that a while ago?
Yeah, I feel like you did. Yeah. It was a while ago, but that was one of the first times they did that, and they gave this like cool animated cutscene depicting Saint 14 is like a evil god figure that was unkillable. You're like, whoa, that is dark.
To them, yeah.
And so I feel like it worked there, but now they're just like classic Bungie. Anything that works, copy paste. And to eternity. It saves money. It's easy. Copy paste. And they do it all the time now, but they still do cutscenes. And Redfall couldn't have one.
Yeah, I think with Redfall, Microsoft needed a win. They hyped this game out. They hyped this game up. It was in like even today I was seeing trailers still for Redfall, and like on Twitter and this and that. They hyped this game up, but their marketing team sucked. So you always heard about Redfall, but the marketing team sucked and didn't tell you what the hell it was. So this is a big loss for them, honestly, because they haven't had I won't say a single good game, but they haven't had a Game Pass seller or a not a console seller, but like a big AAA success this year. Because I was thinking about this today. Well, I actually canceled Game Pass because I haven't used it. I'll re-up if there's a game that comes out that I want to, but the only thing Game Pass is good for me personally as a consumer is smaller indie games. But I like buying those on my Steam Deck, or on Steam for my Steam Deck. The only reason I was a Game Pass sub was for a AAA game to come out. I take that back. Plague Tale was on Game Pass, so that is worth my $10 a month for PC Game Pass. But like everything else, dude, like I was scrolling through it. I'm like, there's no game on here that is coming out in the future that I give a shit about. So earlier last year when we were talking, we were like bowing down to Xbox about how good they were doing with Game Pass, but they also promised a lot of shit that they haven't delivered. So I'm just kind of annoyed with them. And that might just be me. I don't know if that's other people's perspective too, but it's like, dude, you guys haven't done anything. Like Game Pass it's good. Sorry to cut you off. It's good if you don't want to buy little indie games and stuff and you just want to hop over games. But I don't do that. Like I want to play on my Steam Deck.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth my $10 a month. I'll re-up when a good game comes out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it was great when it launched because there was at least one or two games that $60 games you wanted to play. So it already kind of covered the cost there.
Right.
And then you could just like check out any number of games to just see if you like them.
Yeah.
Like I found a few games that I enjoyed that I would have absolutely never played or bought. And so it's good for that. I think smaller developers like that aspect because I played a lot of indie games that I would have never looked at or considered, but I haven't done that in a while.
Neither have I.
And PC Game Pass is cut down from the Xbox version. And that's kind of what's been annoying me is because when they kind of announced it, I was like, okay, well, they'll just get the PC Game Pass up to the same level as Xbox Game Pass eventually. And even if it's not all the like third-party games coming, it should be all the Microsoft games. But Minecraft Legends, I don't think, is on PC Game Pass. Their new one they just launched.
Yeah, that sucks.
I tried looking for it, and I was just gonna like test it out to see if I like it, and I was like, oh, it's not even on here.
Console only. That's shitty.
Yeah, and so I was just like I don't know where the value is. I don't play my Xbox a ton anymore, and I like the Xbox Series X, but I feel like Microsoft isn't giving me a reason to turn it on. They launch all their first party stuff on PC. I have a killer PC.
Yeah.
Where Sony like kind of forces you to turn it on because there's at least like a 2 or 3 year delay in their big first party launches, which sucks, but it at least like gives you a reason to check it out on PS5.
Over the weekend, I kept joking with Heather. I was ready to buy a PlayStation 5 this weekend. I really was. Just because, but honestly, my backlog is what saved me from doing it because like Spider-Man, the Resident Evils, all that shit, I can still play on PC. And by that time, because I was like, dude, I really want to play Final Fantasy 16. I want to play Ratchet and Clank. I want to play God of War Ragnarok. I want to play Ghost of Tsushima. Like, okay, I just named more IPs than frickin' Xbox has had in the last, I don't know, right? Like, I have no reason.
I feel like Game Pass, they sold us on like the promise. They have 22, 23 studios under Microsoft now, and they're working on, or maybe even more, but they've said they've been working on like 22 games are actively in development right now. Right. And so Game Pass was good. There was a couple bangers on there, like Forza Horizon and Halo and
Ground is on there.
Just a bunch of kind of other like mini stuff that was also really good, and like third party stuff. They made a partnership with EA, and you can play all the EA Vault games for free. So Fallen Order was included in that. So it was like it's good enough value today, and they're going to sell us on this promise of launching all these games, and we'll get them day one. Well, where are the games?
Right.
And I get that.
Redfall
I'd rather have you.
There you go.
I'd rather have them take a longer time and sparse them out and make sure the games are like bangers before they launch. But that was everybody's complaint when the Xbox launched was like, okay, there's no games. Sony's got bigger games launching with the system. But at least like the Xbox Series X was like backwards compatible, so you could play all your old games or any of those games that were still coming out.
Is the PlayStation 5 not backwards compatible?
No, they make you buy the PS5 version. So I guess you might be able to play the PS4 version, but you don't get any of the PS5 features.
Gotcha.
It won't render at like 4K. It won't do 120 hertz.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works. But yeah, they make you buy the PS5 version. That's why everyone's always upset. And like a lot of the games aren't just $10 upgrades to the PS5 version. They just make you rebuy them at $70.
Yeah.
And you get really pissed. And so they try to do that with Horizon. Or which one was it? Maybe it was. Oh yeah. So it was Horizon. So a bunch of people bought they said that there was going to be a free upgrade to PS5 version or something. So everybody was buying the PS4 version and trying to get away from the $70 price tag, this like loophole. And then Sony like tried to close it, and then everybody got upset because they officially announced that it was going to be a free upgrade.
Yeah, dude.
So they're like, fine, we're giving it to you now, but everything in the future is $70, just so you're aware.
That's messed up.
Yep.
I'm like, I mean, I'm not a huge Sony fanboy, but I've been playing a lot of Sony games lately, man. And
the
like,
only reason like people put up with Sony and Nintendo because Nintendo is a piece of shit company, actually.
Yeah, 100%. But they got damn good IPs.
But they got the best games, and they kill it, and so it forces you to play it because you're not going to miss out on like an amazing game.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm trying not to, but I was literally about to sell because I can get $110 for my Xbox One X still, which has sat for 2 years, and I haven't played it. I haven't played it since I had my nose surgery in July of 2021. I have not played a game on it. I think I played Sonic with Leah a little bit, like one day. But I'm like, okay, I get $110 for that trade in, all my controllers trade in, my games. I buy a PlayStation 5 easily. And like play Final Fantasy 16, God of War Ragnarok, Ratchet and Clank, dude, those are console sellers.
Yep. Because Halo was the Xbox console seller, but that's failed and burned.
That was back when we were in middle school.
I think Halo Infinite was going to do a good enough job.
Yeah.
I think it piqued a lot of people's interest, and like the PC people, I think and some of the Halo hardcore were vocal, but I think the casual people were bought in. The PvP was fun, and I thought the campaign was excellent.
I enjoyed the campaign.
And so I was ready to keep going on this campaign story, but when they missed that mark and then couldn't update anything or add any new maps, it was like, all right, this game's kind of dead. But I can't believe they just nixed the whole project in general.
Yeah, they were.
That blows my mind because now what's selling consoles? Halo is Microsoft's console seller.
Yeah. They literally gave that IP to the enemy. 343 Guilty Sparks is literally the name of the enemy in Halo, and they gave it to stupid. It was just foreshadowing. I don't know. What do you think, man? Like, would I be stupid to buy a PlayStation 5?
No, because what are you missing out on by not having an Xbox?
I'm not. But
you have the PC. Everything launches. Every first party thing launches day one on PC.
Yeah.
So the Microsoft is kind of telling you the ideal setup is to have a PC and a PlayStation 5 because you can play everything.
So I was talking to Heather, and she's kind of open to it. But because her biggest worry if I sold the Xbox would be not having a DVD player. That's all she gives a shit about.
Well, then just buy the disc version of the PS5.
Right, that's what I'm going to do. Or if I do it.
It's a DVD player.
Yeah, I know. No, okay. I'm saying if I just sold it and didn't
just straight sold it. Yeah, I know. I would agree if you weren't going to get a replacement for it.
Don't sell it.
Because while it is like you're not using it now, it is an amazing streaming device. And your TV isn't going to last. They design smart TVs not to last.
Right.
And they design the higher end ones to last a little bit longer. But there will be apps that'll just stop working for you, like straight up, and you'll be like, "Well, this sucks."
Yeah.
And then they want you to buy a new TV. Yeah. It's like, no, you just plug your Xbox in and it runs everything flawlessly, and the Xbox like 360 still runs a bunch of apps flawlessly.
Yep.
Those if you try and get a Roku, they're $100.
Right.
For a decent Roku. Otherwise, you're going to run into the same problem of like it not loading, apps not being like supported on it for if you buy the like $20 ones. So to get like a decent one that does 4K stuff, you have to spend $100 anyways. And so, yeah, you might as well just keep the Xbox around.
Yeah, I actually posted all my 360 games and my OG Xbox games too, because I'm just one, I wasn't gonna play those, and two, the price just keeps dropping on the fuckers. Like no one wants anything to do with Microsoft collectible anything. So I'm just like watching these, and I don't think they'll ever go up to. I just like do you remember that podcast where you're talking about like not collecting discs versus digital? Do you remember that? I've still been thinking about that like all the time. I'm like, dude, am I just wasting money
collecting? For Xbox One? Possibly, right? Because a lot of it's digital anyways.
Well, that's my
360,
thing.
No.
But like all the games I have are 360. I probably I have on my PC. already.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but my thing is yeah, you have to download them anyways. I'm like,
That's why I feel like the Switch is one of the only. It'll be the last.
Yeah.
Although I'm starting to get pissed with the Switch because I went out and bought a physical copy of Breath of the Wild.
So I had to download
because I'm so sick of it, like all the downloaded games checking online to see if you can play this game or if you own the title, and then it's doing that with my physical cartridges now.
Yeah.
So I brought it to like the wedding and we were sitting at Airbnb and I'm like ready to fire up and play it, and they're like, "Oh, you need to sign into the internet."
Yep.
I'm like, "What are you talking about? I need to sign into the internet?" Like,
thank God for hotspot.
yeah, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And like, if you go traveling at a hotel and they require a sign-in page, sometimes the Switch just doesn't let you sign in.
Right.
There were people like when we were on orders trying to do it, and it would be like, yeah, it sat there for 3 hours trying to sign in. And it's like, if you were traveling, not like living out of a hotel, you wouldn't put up with that.
No.
And then what's the portability of this like console anymore? There isn't any. So literally it's just a Wii U that you get to play in your house. But like all their marketing is take it out wherever with you and play all these games with all your friends. But it's like you're actively hampering it. So I wonder if they keep that in on the Switch, if one day when they turn off those servers, you just won't be able to play anything anymore.
That's what I'm worried about, especially because how many $60 games we bought physically. But the thing is I think I'll still keep buying physical just for the same price, collectability, whatever. Because if the servers go down, you're screwed on physical and digital either way.
True. Yep. So, I mean, yeah, but like physical might not be our saving grace. No,
right.
That just is going to open up. Hey, we're just going to run a hacked version of the Switch software.
Right. So I mean,
we'll play whatever we want.
But if I was going to go into a new genre, or not genre, but different generation of my personal gaming adventure, obviously I don't care. I'm digital all the way on PC. Obviously, is there a reason to buy physical anymore? Because I've been truly having these conversations internally. Is there a point to buy physical anymore, or are you just okay? So when you download the disc, do you save storage? If you download the disc versus downloading digital, no, you don't, right? It's still 80 gigs is 80 gigs. It's just a license telling you that you own it.
Yep.
It's easy. It's easier to switch between games owning all digital.
Yep.
Like, yes, I like to own a physical copy, but we all know discs die within, was it the 20 or 30 years or some shit that discs start to rot? And that might be older DVDs and stuff. Maybe the new Blu-rays don't as much, but disc rot's a thing. I'm not super, like, I don't know the exact like style of discs that rot, but I know like old CDs and stuff are already starting to do it. So I don't know if like Blu-rays don't do that, but you know, it's weird because I was like super hardcore collector and I'm like all this online bullshit. I'm like, maybe I don't collect anymore, you know?
Well, I'm sure Nintendo would want you not to, and they would love to kill that market because then they control.
They lose money.
They don't lose any money. Oh, off of the like collecting stuff.
Yeah, they do because they're
not missing out on. They're just like missing out on like all this huge market that is using their stuff, but they're not getting any cut of it.
Well, what I was saying is when they produce physical, it costs them more versus digital.
Oh, for sure.
But then on the flip note, they sell collector's editions and make a killing back, so it's probably a wash. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. But I mean, just like I think if they do that, I think it'll honestly really hurt their brand because they're the brand that everybody likes to collect for. And if you kill collecting for it, then like you lose that nostalgia factor of it. And so everyone kind of keeps buying Nintendo stuff because they'd be like, well, you know, it's either going to be nostalgia to somebody in like 20 or 30 years, or like I'll remember back, I'll be nostalgic for this time in my life when I was playing this game. Like you physically own it, it's cool to display, and then it like holds value or increases in value. But yeah, if Nintendo wants to keep shooting themselves in the foot, it's just going to open more piracy stuff.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
then no one's going to want to buy physical.
Right. It's weird for me because I love owning physical.
I know.
But lately I've just been like, it's a pain in the ass.
Nintendo just keeps making it like harder and harder, and they were the last ones that it like really made sense for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still like think it makes sense for like Xbox 360 and PlayStation 2 to like keep those physical things.
Right.
Honestly, for Xbox 360, I say yes because you can just pop it into an Xbox,
mm-hmm.
and if as long as the game's like backwards compatible, you just like get it, you get to play it.
Yeah.
So like Microsoft is, if just imagine if Nintendo was like that.
Right.
And Microsoft is like, hey, like, yeah, we're rewarding you for being like a longtime fan and collecting our stuff. And Nintendo is actively trying to not do that, shutting down the Wii U and the 3DS servers in stores.
I misspoke earlier. I didn't sell all my 360 games and Xbox games. I kept the games that I have nostalgia for, but the other ones I was just collecting to collect, I sold those off. Games
fair.
that I already own or don't ever want to play that I got for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So like I still kept all my Ninja Gaidens, all my Halos. Like I still got Halo 1, 2, 3, ODST, all those. I kept those. Halo 4. But I don't know, man. I've just been thinking about it a lot because I was like, I want to get a PlayStation 5, but do I buy the hard disc or I just go digital and make it easier on myself? I'm probably just gonna, God, it sucks. I like the display pieces though. I like looking at the shelf and be like, I own all this shit.
But if you get are you talking about getting like the all digital PS5 or just like getting games digitally?
Just getting games digitally.
Yeah, I'm still not buying physical games for my Xbox One.
Yeah.
Or my Xbox Series. Just because like, yeah, it is a cool little like display piece. Maybe for a game that I nostalgia for or already know I'm gonna love.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that, but yeah, it's just a licensing ticket, right. And once the servers are down, it's down, and it's gonna be useless anyways. And so then it's just like hey, remember this cool period in time where is the Nintendo Switch and everything used to be like, hey, I can still play this game, I own it, and the value just keeps going up because everybody throws theirs away or gets rid of them, right. Or whatever else, and so there's fewer and fewer. So like that's what's cool is like, hey, I held on to this. I have all my Pokemon games from when I was a kid, and they're now worth like a whole bunch of money, right? Yeah. Like that is like awesome to me.
Yep.
And I'm really passionate about those games.
Right. And I think that's where it's different. Like, and two, if you look at sales, we all know physical editions go on huge sales within the first month. I mean, actually, Jedi Survivor is already on sale. I don't know if you knew that. Within 3 days, it went on sale.
Well, yeah, because they're wanting the people to keep buying the game or whatever.
Yeah, 50
and $70 was like a tall asking price. But I feel like on the topic of that, these companies are like marketing things where they'll sell everything at a higher price to capitalize on their hardcore fans, and then not a couple weeks, a month goes by and it's already on discount because they know it was never gonna like sell on mass at that price.
Right. Once Survivor goes on sale, I will buy it. Let's all make that clear. I will buy it. I'm just, I mean, and you have to agree with me. I know you like the game, but paying $70 for what that launch was like is bullshit, right?
I mean, I wasn't going to buy it until I saw somebody else like actually playing it smoothly. Then I was like, all right, well, let's test it out. And Steam has a 2-hour return window, so we'll see if it runs on my computer or not. And it did. And I was like, I'll keep it. Yeah, as long as the shader's cached. Oh, classic.
I thought there was one other thing we were going to talk about. I mean, we've already talked about everything but what we're going to talk about. We already hit everything. What are you going to be playing more of this week?
I really want to get into Survivor. I think my plan was to like kind of keep it the same as last week, where I play on Monday for a big chunk of time, and during the week kind of play Zelda. But now that I'm going to see the movie, I'll have to figure out a day or two to play Survivor. I've been thinking about now that Quinn's going to bed earlier, like picking out another like night of the week, like a Wednesday or something, and being like, hey, once Quinn goes to bed, we'll eat, and then is it cool if I go play video games one night? But I feel kind of guilty still of like going downstairs and playing because I'm like away from her and we don't have like a ton of time to spend together, and so I want to be like with her and present. But like one of the days last week, we just both sat on our phones for 2 hours, and so I was like, well,
it's kind of pointless. Yeah. Yeah, but she might be like, I want you by me. I'm like, what the
right. And so yeah, I think like one night is like a decent compromise. But if we start doing podcasts on Thursdays, maybe not. We'll see.
I mean, we still can do podcasts on Sunday. I have no problem with it. I just
can't do it as
I can't just do it as early.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like during the week, I could start like at 8:15, 8:30, but Sundays I'd have to be like 9:30. So it's up to you, man. So you got the hectic schedule. My shit's easy now.
Oh, let's try it on Thursdays and see how it works.
Yeah, especially now that we got everything set up for the most part, we can just get going. Last thing I did, I keep watching more on Zelda, dude. I'm kind of freaking out, man. Everyone I've watched, and to be clear, this is not because the game's going to be bad. This is because the game is going to be something I don't think I'm going to enjoy. Every single person I have listened to that got hands-on preview said they took everything about the sandbox and quadrupled it. That's all Nintendo is pushing. Like, they haven't talked about the story, which I get, right? There's not been one mention of an epic tale or story, and I'm like, dude, I hated it. I truly despise the like most of the mechanics in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So if they double down on that, like, I don't think I'm gonna like the game, which sucks because I'm a huge Zelda fan. But at the same note, I'm a Zelda fan for first how many entries because of the epic stories, that you're playing through, and I'm like, kind of sucks for me. I'm like, well, I guess I'm just gonna watch a playthrough of the cutscenes. Like, that's truly the point I'm at. Like, do I want to spend 100 hours in a sandbox of like puzzles and this and that? Like, that's not my thing. I'm a little worried. And again, this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah, but I guess we'll see how much like you have to interact with the sandbox.
I think it's their main point, dude.
That could be their main point, and it was their main point or a big point for Breath of the Wild. But like, I'm just running through and avoiding most of it, and there's like a few parts you like have to, do the cold or hot or whatever, and it's like it's fun enough or enjoyable enough in small doses. I guess we'll see. I like the biggest thing for me was the weapon durability, and it kind of seems like they came up with a mechanic to alleviate some of those issues by like being able to glue two random pieces you find together to kind of create a cool weapon that has a high durability. Like, you can take a stick and a rock, and now it does way more damage, and it has way more. Instead of like 5 hits, it'll be like 30 hits, and so
which is good. Like that was one of my biggest things I didn't like about it.
So I feel like you'll have like less time of like, oh, I need to find a weapon that would be good in this area versus just like, hey, what can I creatively put together to make something fun or something that I want to use?
I guess everything I've watched, though, again, this is, Nintendo's showing what they want to show. Everything that was hands-on was like, hey, for this next part of the story, you need to get in this tower, or you need to cross this lake. Oh, you need to build a jet or a jet boat. Or you need to figure out a way to build something to get up in this tower. I just don't enjoy that. I know a shit ton of people probably do, but like me, I'm like, I want the classic combat. I want the story. I'm gonna watch reviews on it, and I'm gonna tell you right now, if they deliver the story how they did in the first one, I'm not buying it. I'm just gonna watch a playthrough of it, which sucks. But like, I've talked to you like probably 10 times about this. I keep trying to get hyped, and then everything I hear is like, yo, look at all the customization that you can do and build this and that, and the frames are dumping, but don't mind the frames, but it's super awesome. And I'm like, I don't care. Now 90% of the casual Nintendo player base that aren't diehard Zelda fans are probably gonna love the shit out of the game for that, and that's why Nintendo, they're a business, right? They're probably going to double down on that, which they're doing. But like, there's the outliers like me where I'm like, that sucks. This kind of sucks. So we'll see.
Yeah,
though.
I guess I'm still kind of cautious about it. But I think I'm gonna like it. I wouldn't think Nintendo's all about their games, and I wouldn't think they'd ruin an IP like this by making it too sandboxy. I think they're expanding the sandbox to give you more options, but I still think they're going to deliver like a awesome story and a really good game. And if they don't, like, then what has the last 5 years like been for?
Yeah, it'll probably be good. It's just not going to be great for me, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to be positive, man. But like, even Breath of the Wild was like a grind for me. Like I said, I played 50 hours of it, and I'm just like, oh, this sucks. And then meanwhile, I'm playing Skyward Sword, which is everyone's least favorite game, and I absolutely adored it because the story is phenomenal to me. So that's just difference of two people, or multiple people, right? Like, I'm a huge story-driven guy. Like, combat, meh. Let me hit the shit out of some things and do a few puzzles.
Yeah, I guess I would prefer the story in Breath of the Wild to be better. But it does seem like pretty epic. Like, you know this thing is happening. You can literally see it on the map, and you're like working your way to like get there.
Once you get to the main
delivery of the story is like I'm not as invested in the characters in the past, and I don't know. Yeah, they could have done it better. Hopefully, they will do it better.
Yeah. Like we talked about, there's no good way to deliver something from the past versus what they did. That is how you had to do it. So, yeah, the story wasn't bad. Just the delivery was not enjoyable for me. And I think for you.
Yeah.
So, but it was.
I was like glad they'd like try to do something unique and cool with it, versus like just do the same thing that everybody else has always done. But yeah, it didn't like quite resonate with me. That it did with other people.
Yeah. Well, you got anything else to add? I know you're pretty tired from your long wedding weekend, and we don't need to keep this going too long. I don't think I got anything else, man.
Just stay nerdy.